So every year the website Thrillist puts out, it's like the creepiest place in every state. And every year from Missouri, it's Main Street, St. Charles. Apparently it's haunted. There's a bunch of different haunted locations. But let's dig down a little deeper as far as St. Louis goes. And the RFT had a pretty good article about this. St. Louis's creepiest urban legends. And some of the stuff I heard of before. Some of the stuff is new to me. Like number one on their list was, in no particular order, it's the Exorcist house. Located near Umsl. Have you ever been to the Exorcist house?
I don't think I've ever been there.
No, it's on Roanoke.
Yeah.
I remember that.
8435 Roanoke. Apparently some real ish went down involving possession, and they had to call in priests from SLU. And the real version of the story was, and this is from the RFT, it was a young boy who had been possessed. His family came to stay at this house on Roanoke, where he was visited by the priests, and where they witnessed his bed shaking, objects flying across the room. The priest got permission from the archbishop to perform an exorcism, and they began at that house before moving him to a hospital in South City.
Anybody ever see that movie?
The Exorcist?
Yeah.
The Exorcist.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I remember when, and obviously age check here, my dad told me that when he went and saw it in the movie theater, he said it was the only time he'd ever seen people run out of the theater because they were so scared.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I remember in the myth, I'm sorry, not in the myth, in the movie it happens in the house. In fact, it did not happen in the house.
Well, as I
The
said,
exorcism itself, you
they
mean?
took him to a hospital in
Yeah,
South
they
City.
stayed at that house, but all that stuff went down at the Alexian Brothers Hospital.
Yeah, Alexian Brothers Hospital in South City.
Yeah, which they tore down that wing. Where supposedly they tore down the wing where that all took place.
Yeah, I think they sealed it after that for quite some time, and then I think
Man.
it's been destroyed.
But at the house, the bed was shaking, objects were flying around. That's the Exorcist house.
And the throw up was
Pea soup.
pea soup.
Pea soup with oatmeal mixed in. In the movie, at least.
This was a good odor.
Then there's Bubblehead Road, which is in Florissant.
Didn't
Yeah, that
Tony
was-
say he's done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Video Joey loves finding all these haunted places. He likes to go ghost hunting and stuff like that. So he was telling me about this real scary legend of North County and all this stuff. And as we're driving there, we're getting really worked up. You know, we're going to park, we're going to walk down. And he's like, it's called the Bubbleheads. And you're like, all right, it's not scary.
Yeah,
Come on,
Bubblehead
that's a
Road.
cartoon.
Not scary. Not scary whatsoever.
Carico Road in Florissant. Legend has it that a family of genetic mutant bubbleheads lived at the end of this long, winding road near the banks of the Missouri River. It's just a street in a densely wooded neighborhood, but it's almost entirely downhill and creepy in a way that only quiet woods could be creepy. And the rumor has it that if you drove too far down the road and got too close to the property, the bubbleheads would come out and scare you off. And the bubbleheads were sometimes described as victims of government chemical testing. And there are multiple no trespassing signs on the road to try to deter teenage visitors. But the legend lives on. That's Bubblehead Road. Then there's Laughing Lake. Clayton Road, St. Louis, probably the most well-known urban legend in West County. The tale of Laughing Lake is a sad one. It's said that a couple of children drowned in a lake off Clayton Road. The legend goes that their father, an artist, painted a vision of them on the side of a house there. It supposedly appears that the viewer's looking at them from as they're underwater, laughing and having a good time in the afterlife.
Whoa.
That's the Laughing Lake. Then there's Zombie Road,
Yep.
Yeah.
Been there.
old stretch of road in Ellisville that carries, I guess, this legend of a man being hit by a train, and that sometimes people will see him walking near the tracks and reenacting the moment he got hit.
Yeah, anytime you're there by yourself, every single squirrel running across a leaf will make you think you're hearing something.
And they say the story is made more believable by the fact that there's constantly fog covering the little dips and valley in the dark, winding road near Bluebird Park. There's also old, dark buildings just visible from the road that look something straight out of a horror movie. That's Zombie Road. Then there's Molly Crenshaw's grave in St. Charles. Nobody?
Don't know what that is.
I guess depending on who you ask, so says the RFT, you get a different story about this Molly Crenshaw. She was usually either a witch whose body was buried in separate graves, leaving the pieces to try to wiggle back together over time, or she was a woman who committed suicide after she lost her hearing. Either way, the story's sad, but her various legends have inspired West County teenagers to seek out her grave for more than 50 years.
And they have not found it? Or there is a
Who
grave?
even knows? Hitchhiker Annie?
Well, what's that?
Hitchhiker Annie is the name of the ghost that roams Cavalry Drive between Cavalry Cemetery and Bell Fountain Cemetery. And her legend has been around since the 40s and is very well known by people in that area. She's described as a woman, a young woman in a white dress. She has long brown hair, pale skin, usually makes an appearance right as the sun is setting. And though she might be creepy, she's described as harmless. Apparently she flags down cars and asks for a ride up the street, but she always disappears when the car reaches the entrance to Bell Fountain Cemetery.
Let's think through this, by the way. All of these with the ghosts and the descriptions, are any of them described as harmful? Because I have yet to hear of anybody being attacked.
You're right.
I mean, let's say you believe it all. Let's say you believe it all. It can't be all that frightening.
Yeah, but I mean, you see a ghost and it's something...
If I saw an apparition, I would be stoked.
Would you? You wouldn't be frightened?
Oh, yes, simultaneously. All of it. When I had that lucid dream thing and I had the sleep paralysis and there were demons on the wall and all that kind of stuff.
Demons.
Yeah, you better believe I was terrified, but at the same time I was like, it's happening. It's the warnings that I had about the lucid dreaming and the sleep paralysis, like, holy cow, the mind is amazing. All I thought was, my mind is amazing because this is some of the scariest stuff I've ever seen, but I know that I wasn't seeing it. You know what I mean?
The good news is that Hitchhiker Annie is harmless. That's good news. What about the 7 gates to hell in Collinsville?
That doesn't sound harmless.
That sounds like a lot of gates. Why
Is that
7?
an ice cream shop?
These gates are graffiti-covered railroad bridges, and it's said that if you drive under all of them in a specific order and pass beneath the 7th gate exactly at midnight, that it will open a portal to hell, and you could momentarily glimpse the lake of fire.
Well, that would be pretty cool.
Does anybody have a photo? A cell phone, perhaps?
Suburban kids looking for a thrill have been crossing the river to chase this devil since at least the 90s. And as far as the RFT could tell, nobody has seen the dark side quite yet. That's the 7 gates to hell in Collinsville. Or the Equidome in St. Charles on Highway 94. Rumored to be the place where a satanic cult had its cemeteries and did, ceremonies and did animal sacrifices. That's the Equidome in St. Charles.
It sure seems easy. It just sure seems easy and simple to have something live on forever in some sort of ghost story.
Somebody just has to say that place is, hey, you hear about the haunted Jaguar dealership?
Right.
Whoa, man, we get that going.
No, I'm saying, like, if any of this stuff is true, and that's all it takes is just some people doing a ritual or something, and then it somehow sticks to the earth and lives forever and all this. With the billions upon billions of people that have lived and died in all of these areas, wouldn't damn near every square foot be haunted by something?
Right, with the amount of death.
That's what I'm saying.
Over time.
And even just wacky death, like the percentage. We in 100 years from now, we're just going to be inundated with ghost stuff. We won't be able to work because everything's haunted.
Well, have you heard of the ghost on the stairs at Fort Bell Fountain in Old Jamestown?
No, does it trip you when you get to the
haunted
last
vibe of this place is off the charts. First of all, there was an entire cemetery here that was moved. No less than 33 soldiers, officers, and their family members were dug up in 1904 and moved to Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery in South County. That's just asking for some unrested souls to haunt the joint.
Right, because these are ghosts and souls, but they can't be freed until you dig up the body that they're in, right?
And they say that a ghost appears in the form of red smoke, usually right at the top of a gorgeous old area called the Grand Staircase.
I just pulled it up just to check it. I remember when I first got to Eureka, that Holiday Inn that's right next to Six Flags used to be a Ramada, I guess. And there's a story about a young girl named Aggie who used to live there, and she like fell to her death or something. And when you walk in the front desk, supposedly that's right where she fell. And if you stay the night there, you can see her like peeking around the corner.
And the bell rings itself.
I've eaten there a few times. I ain't never seen Aggie.
You get the haunted Continental breakfast.
Yeah.
Truly one of the creepiest places in the world, as far as I'm concerned.
Would you like a scone?
Me and
Try
my
the
friend had this
blueberries.
hotel party there. We were hammered, and we saw Aggie. It was
Don't
crazy.
touch the watery eggs. One of the truly scariest and most believably haunted places on Earth is the Rave in Milwaukee. It's catty corner to where
Jeffrey Dahmer
did everything.
Yeah, yeah.
There was tunnels that Dahmer went to and took boys back from this club. And it's a rock club, and it's 3 different ones. And there's like Nazi connotation to it. It used to be a men's club. It was used in Prohibition as a speakeasy, and there's hidden compartments everywhere where they hid alcohol at people. I mean, it is crazy, and it was a YMCA type of thing. So there's a pool in the basement that apparently like a boy died in the 20s or something.
And they say it haunts it.
Dude, I'm telling you, if you don't believe in something and you want to believe, all you got to do is take a couple visits there, and the dressing rooms for the bands are in the basement. And if you find your way into certain areas you're not supposed to go in, it's all abandoned, and you're in boiler rooms, and then you can go to the roof.
Yeah, make your hair stand up.
And still, come on.
Yeah,
You know what?
I had strep throat once and was super sick that night. I even threw up. So the band I was working for was like, hey, just go sleep or whatever. So I went. Found a random back room where no one was in, and there was a couch there, and I was at the Rave, and it was weird lighting, red lighting, all stuff.
Yeah, so strange.
And I guess ghosts don't like sick people because I didn't get bothered at all. I was able to sleep the whole night.
Here's what I'm thinking. What all these things, and again, this is from an article in the RFT, the St. Louis's creepiest urban legends. A lot of these places, people go to see, and they're trespassing on property.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like a lot of these, like teenagers will go, all right, let's go to this place. Let's go to the 7 Gates of Hell. Let's go to, the Bubbleheads place.
Yeah, Bubbleheads is marked clearly at the beginning of the road. You're not even allowed to go
And it's
down
trespassing.
there. Yeah.
Here's a couple I've never heard of. Have you heard of this? Sibley Hall Chapel in Lindenwood. I guess it's the chapel at Lindenwood University.
Well, that's part of the Main Street St. Charles.
Well, this
legend.
is. Oh, okay. This is the gal that comes in and plays the organ near My God to Thee.
I think that's part of that whole thing.
Okay. Well, how about this one? The Campbell House Museum. You heard of this place?
No.
In the past several years, $50 coins have been appearing in unexpected places around the house, sometimes where no one had been. The phenomenon first began. A penny would accompany the $50 on occasion, so 51 cents, because the home was built in 1851 by some huge, successful businessman. Apparently, they hear footsteps when the house is empty and even feel mild nudges when they go through the house. Then here's Webster University's something or other center. I guess it's the Performing Arts Center, has 2 ghosts. Both died in the theater area and roam the stages making noise. They're on the catwalk and they play with the lights.
Yeah, like back to your point, when you go on this property, you get, you're trespassing.
Yeah, you get run off by the homeowner with a shotgun.
Every time I go to the
That's
Bubbleheads
scary.
place, I get shot at. That's because you're on somebody's
scary.
property.
I've heard of this one before, and this close here, Creve Lake. Supposedly, creepy and haunted.
Like the whole lake?
There's a cliff near the entrance to the park
Oh, this is the girl.
where it said a native woman committed suicide long ago by jumping from the cliff into the water below, and she was distraught because her husband had gone on a long hunting trip and died on the way home.
So coming from Dorset, you take her right there, and then the lake is to your left, that cliff right
It's
there?
where you could rent, like, the
Yeah, it's by the
where you
beach.
can rent the paddle boards and
Yeah,
stuff.
you see-
right there on your left as you're going in,
Yeah,
going
you
down
see the
the
stone
hill.
over there. I think that is part of the same story and connection to why this is called Creve Coeur, which is broken
Yes,
heart.
the broken heart. Yeah, she
really?
flung herself off the cliff and can apparently still be heard crying over there.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't remember what the tribe or family had. It was a. I don't know if did they name the moment or somebody related to her Creve Coeur. It was the broken heart thing about Creve
It's
Coeur
that.
is something tied to that
that.
tragedy.
Is that why it's named Oops?
That's not it.
That's not it, Scott. There's the redhead at Chase Park Plaza. It said that a redheaded woman wearing white haunts the 3rd floor of the Chase, particularly room 304. And the legend has it that she threw herself out of a window to her death on her wedding night in the 1930s, and she often startles people, but other than that, seems to wish them no harm. And guests over at the Chase report seeing this redheaded woman. I guess there's also a guy wearing a tuxedo and a top hat. I guess people see him strolling by on occasion, just minding his own business. And then there's the Great Circle in Webster Groves on Gore Avenue. It's said that I guess there was a behavioral health facility there. It was an orphanage during the cholera epidemic, and the ghost of a little girl can be seen floating near a tree on the property.
That would be startling.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see this. what do? Do you not try to communicate? If you see this and you think you're actually, lucid and
What do I say? Hey!
sober,
I think first thing I'd say is, "Oh, well, hey,
Hey!
are you? You're floating."
right?
Yeah.
So what's
you're
your
floating.
story?
Or do you take off? I mean, if you take off, then your story
I'd
ends
be
there.
probably paralyzed. Well, I'd first take out my phone and start
Take a picture, yeah,
take a picture.
and then ask what they were taking.
Yeah, you got to stick around. You got to ride it out.
Oh yeah.
Like, what's your deal?
What if they're just cool and you could have a ghost friend for the rest of your life? That floats.
My
man.
ghost buddy.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's going to go
I'm
over
bringing
well.
you everywhere, ghost buddy.
But only I can see you.
Yeah.
Get in, ghost buddy.
man.
This will be just like the movies.
Uh-huh.
Except they'll put me in an institution.
Hope you like padded walls, because that's where we're going to be hanging out. All right. Well, that's look up the. There's some more places. Look up that RFT article. Creepiest places in St. Louis.